Me and Nicole met out here in Omaha, and a friend of mine was having a surprise birthday party thrown for him by his now fiance, and she did Nicole's hair, so she invited her, and we met at a bar we first went to, and she was sitting with a group of girls, and she caught my eye right away.
I remember I was sitting at like a table with some girls that I had just met, and they all left me, and I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm stuck here by myself. So I went and stood by Ryan's table with all of his like high school friends, and Ryan was like the first person to talk to me, and he was the only one to talk to me, and I was like, oh, like, who's this? Like, nobody told me that he was gonna be here. I had heard about all the other friends, but I had not heard about Ryan, so.
We ended up riding to the next bar together and had a few drinks, and rode to the next bar together, had a few drinks, and ended up getting her number so that way we could stay in contact. So she went home that night and COVID hit, so we had to work around that a little bit.
We kind of hit it off, but yeah, we ended up staying in touch, and he got my phone number and came out to Omaha like 2 days later. But I totally thought he wasn't gonna hang out with me again. I thought it was just a one-time meet him, and then like he's going back to Iowa. We're never gonna see each other again.
My first impression of Nicole was she was very beautiful, and she caught my eye right away. The minute she walked in, and we knew she was coming that night, and never would have thought she would have caught me that fast.
My first impression of Ryan was he's very social. I was standing there in front of a table of guys, and like all of his friends, like nobody really talked to me, and he immediately like started asking about me, asking me where I'm from, how I know our two friends, asking me more about me. Very social and is easy to talk to.
Our first date was very simple. COVID had hit, and she invited me out to have supper with her at her apartment. And she told me she was making chicken and rice, and I love chicken and rice, but I didn't want her to know how much I can eat.
I think I made like chicken and rice, and I made a ton of food because I was like, I know he eats a lot.
So I stopped at McDonald's on the way out, and I didn't tell her that. And I showed up to her house, and she had pots of food made.
And he like barely ate anything, and I thought I was like the worst cook in the entire world. And later on he told me that he had like stopped at McDonald's because he didn't want to eat too much in front of me.
She's very smart and very, very caring. Loves kids. She's a very good teacher, and she's very good at what she does. And she only wants to make the world a better place for our kids someday. And I cherish that. I'm glad our kids will have a very good mother someday.
He is the type of friend to like, if you have a flat tire and you're like 30 minutes away, you call him and he will be there. He will always make it work. Whether you're family, friend, if you're a distant like relative or a distant friend, he will always come.
The proposal went very smoothly, like I hoped. She had no idea, and we just had her mom and dad coming out for a casual lunch just to hang out for a little while, and I had a little bit more planned. And I had my mom, dad, and grandma sitting down the road waiting for my call, and my grandma had the ring because Nicole knows I'll never say no to grandma stopping by. So it's Christmas time, So Grandma was just dropping off a present for me. And so they walked in and we all gathered around the tree and I opened this present and it was a handkerchief and it said, "Will you marry my dad?" And I had put it on my dog and I told her to come over and she read it and she had no idea.
And it said, "Will you marry my daddy?" And I was like, what? And then he said, well, are we gonna do this? Because he was on his knee. And I was just still like in shock of what was going on. He goes, "Will you marry me?" And I said, he hates me for this. I said, "Yeah, sure." And he like will not leave me alone about it, but I was so in shock. And I remember he put it on my hand and then he went to hug me and I was just like standing there shaking. I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe like this happened. I couldn't sit still. I was so excited, but I was just so in shock.
My most memorable experience with Nicole, and a good test on a relationship actually, is we took a motorcycle trip to Colorado last year. And you want to talk about an emotional girl on the back of a motorcycle going up Pikes Peak. It's a true test because I want to ride right next to the edge. I want to see down. And you got her, tapping the back of your head, telling you to get in the middle of the road. She's afraid to fall off. And
So scary.
yeah, that was probably my most memorable experience so far with her. And it tested it pretty hard there. It was a long few miles up Pikes Peak, that's for sure.
Slow and right on the edge. It was really scary. I'm not gonna lie. I think one of the most memorable experiences I've had with you, I've had a lot, but one that really sticks out is when you bought the house. And I just remember I was like, we weren't engaged or anything, but I remember you sending me he would send me listings and he'd be like, "What do you think about this one? What do you think about that one?" And I'm like, it's your house. Like, I don't want to put too much of my input on stuff, but I remember seeing our house now and you were like, "Well, there's bedrooms, so we can grow here." And I was like, oh my gosh, like wants to like really move here and like have a family and keep going. So that was really exciting, and moving in with him, and that was stressful too, but it was a really fun experience. I think that we're most alike in like our family values, and I feel like that sounds very cliche, but how we want to like raise our family one day, and how we really try to put like our family and our friends first and make that effort to the people that we love in our lives. What would you say?
That was exactly what I was going to say. Thing I'm looking forward to for a wedding day is just to see everybody and help her have the best day possible. I'm ready to see her happy, and hopefully it's the wedding of her dreams. So I'm ready for it to be over as well. It's been pretty stressful. We're ready to get there. We're excited. Very excited.
Walking down the aisle and seeing the person there, and just like that moment. So I'm really excited for that. I'm